Since it launched in 2005, YouTube now reaches more adults than any television channel according to Nielsen. YouTube has 2 billion monthly active users, and 300 hours of videos are added to YouTube every minute. The only search engine with more traffic than YouTube is Google, which owns YouTube. 94% of 18 to 24-year-olds use YouTube, and according to Pew Research, 80% of parents let their children watch YouTube. Pew also found that the majority of YouTube users have come across false or misleading videos on the site. After the 2016 election, online misinformation became a mainstream political issue. The Atlantic wrote in 2017 that the informational underpinnings of democracy have eroded, and no one has explained precisely how. This video examines part of that how. The algorithms that direct our experiences online, and on YouTube in particular, often prey on our worst impulses. Outrage, anger, and tribalism are great for online engagement. Online, nothing spreads faster than rage, according to a meta-analysis from the Smithsonian. Savvy creators know that the algorithm will reward anger, controversy, and conflict. To clarify, the YouTube algorithm is a set of rules that YouTube uses to decide which videos to recommend based on what YouTube thinks the user will like and what will keep them engaged longer. There are several important counter-arguments to raise here. One is the idea that fringe political ideologies, conspiracy theories, and hate groups have always been around in some form or another, and that by censoring these ideas, YouTube would be violating free speech. I do want to clarify that legally, YouTube can censor however and whoever it wants because it is a private company, and users are not entitled to a platform for their ideas. However, YouTube's algorithm doesn't just allow dangerous, hateful, and misleading content to exist on the site. It often promotes this. In 2018, a census of far-right online organizers found that YouTube was the major source of information and community for these groups. Vox Media has speculated that YouTube has become a haven for far-right speech for several reasons. 1. YouTube isn't subject to FCC regulations about hate speech and misinformation. 2. Advertisers don't know which videos their ads will play next to, so they only sometimes find out if their ads are placed next to offensive content. 3. The YouTube algorithm plays into users' demonstrated biases, feeding them more extreme versions of what they've already watched. So, this is crazy. How did we get here? Wasn't YouTube supposed to be cat videos? When YouTube first became popular, human editors chose to feature videos on the homepage. Then, in 2007, Google acquired YouTube. Google switched from human editors to AI to recommend videos. At first, these recommendations were driven by clicks. The result was clickbait, which means a video title or thumbnail with an enticing premise followed by a disappointing or unrelated video. To reduce clickbait, YouTube began recommending videos based on engagement rather than clicks. In 2015, YouTube's recommendation AI was redesigned as a neural network to recommend viewers content similar to what they had already watched. The change was a bit of a disappointment because users got bored with videos similar to ones that they had already seen. So a project called Reinforce was started to mix in more unexpected videos to get users to stay on the platform longer. This is based on the psychological concept of variable interval reinforcement, something which is known to cause addictive behavior in animals and humans. Think of a slot machine, which sometimes gives you a disappointing result and sometimes gives you a gratifying result.
And a rat wanting brain stimulation would brave a shock stronger than even a starving rat would brave to get food.
YouTube under fire. In 2016, YouTube, as well as other social media giants, came under fire for stoking political polarization and misinformation. The CEO convened a meeting in the immediate aftermath of the election to examine YouTube's role in the result. In 2016, this techno-sociologist sounded the alarm about YouTube radicalization.
In 2016, I attended rallies of then-candidate Donald Trump. And then I wanted to write something about one of his rallies, so I watched it a few times on YouTube. YouTube started recommending to me and autoplaying to me white supremacist videos in increasing order of extremism.
Then, in November 2017, YouTube came under intense scrutiny for recommending disturbing, sexual, and violent videos to children.
And most of these kids are too small to even use a website, right? They're just kind of hammering on the screen with their little hands, right? And so there's autoplay, where it just keeps playing these videos over and over and over in a loop. And there's so much weirdness in the system now that autoplay takes you to some pretty strange places. This is how within like a dozen steps you can go from a cute video of a counting train to masturbating Mickey Mouse. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Following this controversy, YouTube added thousands of content moderators. However, as of 2019, YouTube still acknowledges that children could be exposed to inappropriate content on its platform, YouTube Kids. Adpocalypse, 2017. In 2017, YouTube lost many advertisers when they discovered that their content was appearing alongside extremist content, and when PewDiePie, at that time the top channel on YouTube, posted a video of two guys holding up a sign which read "Death to all Jews." This caused YouTube to make major structural changes to the platform, which is now called Adpocalypse. YouTube demonetized many videos, which was understood to harm independent creators the most, as well as any channel that posted political content.
All of the algorithms got tightened. So while some channels have rebounded, a lot of channels went down and then went down further as they were put into buckets which weren't getting as many ads. This has really squeezed creators who are making content that's maybe good, but not like super happy family fun time stuff.
This is an example of the trade-offs of using AI to police content on the site. However, the political content algorithmically promoted on YouTube is often of shockingly poor quality. An experiment by BuzzFeed News showed that random search terms reliably pointed users towards false, misleading, and hyper-partisan videos. A search for Nancy Pelosi speech led from a BBC News clip to a QAnon conspiracy video after 10 jumps from the autoplay function. Google is still in favor of using AI to police content on the site. This is not surprising because of the sheer volume of content uploaded to YouTube every minute. In 2018, a video claiming the Parkland shooting victims were actors made it to the YouTube homepage. YouTube started adding Google News links to search results for current events and said the site would prefer vetted news sources over independent channels and recommendations. When YouTube came under fire for anti-vax videos with millions of views, they started adding third-party news links underneath the videos next to the description. When it was discovered that pedophiles were making sexually explicit comments and distributing links for child pornography in the comments of YouTube videos featuring children, YouTube disabled comments on videos with children. In terms of alt-right content, YouTube has banned some of the most extreme creators like Stefan Molyneux, a white supremacist and anti-feminist. They have also clarified that videos glorifying Nazism will be banned from the platform. But many videos with white supremacist ideas still get millions of views, even if they don't proudly call themselves Nazis, because they're a little bit too cagey for that. One former YouTube insider, Guillaume Chasleau, has said that YouTube has no incentive to make changes, because economically, Google and YouTube are doing fine. He explains, "It isn't inherently awful that YouTube uses AI to recommend videos for you, because if the AI is well-tuned, it can help you get what you want. But the problem is that the AI isn't built to help you get what you want. It's built to get you addicted to YouTube. Recommendations were designed to waste your time." In February 2020, YouTube announced that it earned $14 billion in 2019 and made up 9% of Google's total ad revenue. Although YouTube has an ethical reason to change the algorithm, it's performing very well economically, so there's no incentive for change. Here are some practical steps you can take to prevent yourself from getting brainwashed on YouTube. 1. Turn off autoplay. Autoplay is not designed for your benefit. It's designed for Google's benefit. Turning on autoplay is putting the algorithm in the driver's seat and opting for a totally passive experience on YouTube. 2. Don't let children watch YouTube unsupervised. This is not moral panic.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Children have been recommended deeply disturbing, graphic, and sexual content through YouTube and YouTube Kids. Things like Peppa Pig eats her father or Peppa Pig drinks bleach. All of the recommendations on YouTube Kids are made through the algorithm and they are not vetted by human beings. Videos are sometimes taken down if they are flagged, but there are millions and millions of videos specifically designed to get promoted by the YouTube Kids algorithm to earn their creative ad dollars and not to benefit children in any way. Don't rely on YouTube for political information and commentary. There is some good political content on YouTube, but once the site discovers your particular biases, you will get more and more inflammatory and quasi-addictive content. Always verify that political information is taken from credible sources, and be suspicious of any channel that revels in serving up outrage in video after video. The issues that I've raised here don't just apply to YouTube. Algorithms drive pretty much all of our experiences online, and it's important to think about how they reward certain types of articles over others, certain types of videos over others, and how all of that is fueled by advertising. When you're on YouTube, you should know as much as possible about how the algorithm works, because on a free platform driven by advertising, you're not the customer, you're the product. Algorithms aren't necessarily intentionally evil, but they don't have scruples like human beings do. I don't have the solution to these problems, but I hope that I've shown that they should be taken seriously at a personal and a societal level. Now remember to like, comment, and subscribe.